everybody, it's Rachel Kane, and I am here interviewing Miss Patricia McWilliams from William James Middle School in Fort Worth, Texas. And I had the honor of being asked to come to her class and talk to her students, and it was just an amazing thing. Well, I love your kids, by the way.
Oh, they loved you. Oh my gosh, yes. They did. They were so excited to know you were coming, and then you did not disappoint them at all.
We actually met on the train, right?
Yes.
Ah.
From California to Dallas, or Fort Worth. Yes.
What do you see as being the importance of both paper books and ebooks in an educational setting these days, and especially like novels and young adult novels and things like that?
I see a great advantage to having the ebook. But there's just something about having a book in the hands and to be able to literally turn the pages. I use an ebook when I travel, but when I'm at home, I like to kick back with an actual novel in hand and be able to turn the pages and put a bookmark in it and enjoy the book. So I think it is not a lost art to have an actual book in hand. In fact, some of my students have told me they prefer having a book in hand as opposed to an ebook.
So what are the challenges that you have of finding books for your kids and getting them in their hands?
One thing I make sure I do as a teacher is I get to know my students. I get to see and learn some of their idiosyncrasies, and I also pay attention to what kind of books they read. It's nothing for me to go over to a student who's reading a book and take a look at the book and see, oh, you're reading that, how is it? And ask them about it, okay? I push reading in my classes to the point that I say, always have a book with you, or I keep books in the room, young adult books in the room that they can go over and pick one up and read it. So if they finish their work early, instead of sitting there and talking or horsing around, they know when they finish, they take out their book and start reading. And if it's one they love, I just have to make sure, all right, don't rush through your work so you can get back to the book.
That'd be me.
Okay. I have some students like that. About once a week or so, I'll say, okay, it's book time. And everybody knows we're going to have a quiet day and we're just going to kick back and read our books and just enjoy reading.
And when you do that, are they books that they've just brought in? Are they books that you assign to them? Or
I don't ever assign necessarily. Like the books I have in my room, I went to a library book sale. And on that Sunday, the last 2 hours of the book sale, all teachers can just make a $5 donation and come and take as many books as they want, of whatever books they want. And that's what I did. I did that in March, and I ended up getting 2 cases of different books by different authors to try to understand, okay, well, Johnny would like this one, and Matilda would like that. And, I just grabbed the different books. And so I have them in the room. A lot of them are very good about going to the library and getting their own books, or some of them hit up Amazon.com. But I have books in the room, too, that they can pull from.
And when you mentioned the book sale, the library book sale, is that specific to Fort Worth or Arlington, or do you know if it's a standard practice?
So it seems to be all around the country. So teachers and all should just really pay attention. Oh, for me, books are like people go into a candy shop. I want to say, oh, what's this one about? And I'll stand there and read some of it and have to remember, oh, I'm supposed to be doing something. Let me go do it. So, no, it is something that's definitely found across the United States, I would say. I've seen it advertised in New Jersey.
Interesting. So, I realize that you keep a lot of books in your classroom for your students. Do you also have a pretty significant school library as well?
We do, and the students use it. I encourage them. The first part of the year, the librarian always has an orientation class for all the English classes in particular. And in fact, she kind of requires it before they can start checking out books. But the students take advantage of it, which is great. In fact, when you came last year, you gave us one of the books, so now your book is in the library, which
Excellent.
is really nice. But I tell you what, if I may step back a second, I want to speak, if it's okay, about one young man that didn't like to read.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that.
He just professed to me, I said, it's time to read a book, and he just slouched in his chair and said, Miss, I don't like to read. I don't want to read. And his friend said, yeah, Miss, you can't pay him to read a book. I said, well, you know what? I bet I could find a book that you might be interested in. And he said, really? And I said, yeah. So I brought him John Grisham's A Time to Kill. I thought that'll capture his interest. And we had, with some other readings we'd done some reading regarding the South and what things that go on. And I gave him the book. I asked him the next day, I said, did you read it? And I said, what page are you on? He said, I'm on page 20. I went, really? And his friend said, you were what? He read that book in 4 days. And it's not a thin book. And he came back just smiling, and all of his friends were like, what? So then the next I decided, well, let me keep this up. I had a book in the classroom called, when we had a test one day, and the only thing they can do when they finish a district test is they can read or take an N. So I saw I had Animal Farm, and I knew about Animal Farm, so I gave him the book. I said, read this, and it's not about farm animals, but you'll get the gist if you read it. He inhaled the book. His friends became like, wait a minute, hold up. So when I brought the books to school, and some of them by the same authors that I've been reading, his buddy said, we want to try these books. And then they would start to come to me in really short order and bring it and say, this was a great book. I said, you enjoyed it? And he said, yeah, where's another one? So it started a trend with them, and now they became readers, which is really interesting.
Great story. I'm happy that he's found his book love.
Finally. This is a young man who hoped to be a lawyer one day. And I said, well, if you're going to be a lawyer, you need to enjoy reading because you're going to be doing a lot of reading.
What specifically do you think that people in the community can do to support your classes like yours, and libraries, public libraries, school libraries?
Well, you know, Rachel, I'll tell you what, community always starts at home. And if the parents encourage their children to read, and start them out very early when they're little kids, reading to them from children's books that makes them enjoy. Because if you keep reading a book over and over again to a child, then they're going to want to start learning how to read it for themselves. And at first they may memorize the words, but they just love that book. Then they want to know about other books, and then it increases. So it needs to start at home and then work up from there. If everybody sits down, like my brother out in California, when he was raising his children, whenever, you don't get to anything quickly by car in Los Angeles. And they would always have a book in hand, and everybody in the car, except my brother, of course, who's driving, would have a book in hand and be reading, okay? So I think community starts at home. Beyond that, it would be great if communities keep encouraging students to read. I heard and understand, you mentioned to me one time about a program where some people can adopt a classroom and provide books for the classes.
That's true.
I think that's an outstanding idea of what they can do. In fact, some of the teachers at my school, I mentioned to them about the library sales, and after the fact, I happened to mention after the fact, and said, oh, I wish I had known. I would love to have books in my room for students. Because, like you said, being underfunded, it's difficult for teachers to go out and just buy books. So, like the library sales program I was telling you about, or if a group adopted the classroom and sent money for books or provided books, especially if there's someone in the community who has a connection with a publisher and would be able to get their hands on some books to turn in, that would be a wonderful thing. Because I believe we cannot afford to have reading become a lost art. Because some people will maybe not even leave the state that they live in, but through reading they can travel around the world, and that gives them so much more knowledge than they could have ever had. So it's very important to keep up reading for our students.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me.
Thank you for asking me.
If people want to send you books, where should they send them?
they could send them to William James Middle School, care of Patricia McWilliams. And our address is 1101 Nashville Road in Fort Worth, Texas. And our zip code is 76105. And if they do, thank you, thank you, thank you. That would be most appreciated. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me, and I look forward to coming back to your school and talking to your classes again.
Oh, believe me, we will be having you back.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.